Hi, Michelle. You're on mute.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful, except it's supposed to be the hottest day of the year. Sorry, in the last 10 years here today.
Hey. And
Um,
what does that mean for there? What is hot?
so anyone that's listening, we'll start in a minute, but Michelle lives in Arizona and she probably is going to laugh at me. My husband and I went to Arizona last July, and I'm sorry, but that was like horrible.
Yeah.
So the problem with here, Michelle, is there's the humidity, it's so sticky, like it's insane. And so it's gonna be about 120 with the heat index here in
Wow,
Chicagoland.
that's crazy.
And so they've actually closed some schools today because the buses don't have air. And
Oh,
it was so miserable yesterday. It was about 115. So our school doesn't, my kids don't go to public school, but there's no buses. So it like doesn't matter for us. Anyways, so we'll get started in just a moment. You're probably laughing at that because I think when we were there, it was like 115 maybe, but Arizona is different. There's no humidity. It's just like heat.
it's funny right now. It's so humid because of the monsoon season, and it's been like 115 during the day, and then so humid. I did a walkthrough on a house yesterday, and like I could literally feel my foundation just kind of like running off my face. It was terrible. I don't
Yeah.
like humidity.
People were saying that the schools, like the floors, because of the humid, it was like almost watery. And so kids were
Oh,
like slipping and stuff.
that's not good.
So, and there's literally no wind, no clouds, like it is pure just heat.
Yuck.
Anyways,
Yeah.
all right, so we're live in our group. Welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you're just tuning in or you're live with us, I know there's a few people on. If you could just post your name and where you're located and tell us what the weather is there today. I'm a super weather nerd, which is funny. I think in another life I was like a weather person, but I absolutely love the weather. So yeah, just let us know where you are, your name, and we'll say hello. And then Michelle and I are just going to start chatting soon. Let's see. And if you're listening on Facebook, hey Vivian, you can post your name and where you're at as well. I think it's hot everywhere in the United States right now.
Yeah.
We have in-laws in Florida, and I think it's hotter here than it is there, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
But it's supposed to get back down to the 80s. So Cheryl, Dorsey, it looks like Olga is in New Jersey. I know Tammy. Tammy, hello. Tammy is in Tennessee. Nice to see some familiar faces. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. If you're joining us live in the group, just post your name, where you're located, and what the weather is like there today. But Michelle, welcome. Michelle, like I said earlier, if you didn't hear, Michelle lives in Arizona, and she'll tell you a little bit about her location and her background and stuff. But I really wanted to have this Zoom because she has been doing really well, and we want to talk about this past deal that she just closed. So I'm going to ask her some questions. She's going to talk about it. And then if you have any questions, feel free to post them and we'll get them answered. So Cheryl, oh yeah, Cheryl's in Virginia. Storms are landing. I wish it would storm here. 75 degrees. That's how it will be over the weekend. So maybe this warm weather is going to all of you on the East Coast, hopefully. Hopefully. Anyways, Michelle, why don't you tell everyone who you are, where you're located, and your current business, and then we'll get started.
So I'm Michelle. I live in Tucson, Arizona right now. And I service all the outlying areas, Sierra Vista. And I know if you're not from here, but I go an hour, probably north, east, west, south, whatever. Because Tucson is so so laid out, I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm currently with Caldwell Banker.
And what did you do before real estate?
I was in human resources for a long time.
Okay. What made you decide? So there's a lot of people that are kind of dual careers here or make looking to make the decision to leave. So how did you go about that?
So my husband is 15 years older than I am. And so I wanted to have something where I could, we ride Harleys all over. And so I wanted to do something that I could do with him and not have a 9 to 5 and be limited by that. So, I work a lot and then we take time off when we go to bike rallies. And then, I put a lot of time in. And so it's just the flexibility for us to be able to do those things.
Sturgis
Next year. Yes.
next year. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I'm just gonna let some more people in. So if you're just tuning in, I'm just having a conversation with Michele. She is located in Arizona. She's been real estate for about 5 years. And yeah, so thanks, Michele, for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you could just post your name, where you're located, and let us know what the weather is today. I'm saying that because I know Erica's in California. What is it like there with the hurricane or the storms, tropical storms? It is literally hot here today. All right, Michele. So let's talk about this deal you just closed. And so when you posted about it, I was super excited. So can you just take us through it from like beginning? I know that you sent out the letter. Do you know if they got one letter, two letters, and then how did it kind of flow from there? I would love to hear it from start to finish.
So, and to be honest, I don't know which letter he got because I've mailed out hundreds of letters. And so I went from using the auction date letter to the equity letter. And so I don't know at what point he got his letter. But he just called me one day and said, "Hey, I got your letter. I need help. Like, what do I do with this?" And so he had a house in Sierra Vista, which is about an hour outside of Tucson.
Okay.
He had an upcoming auction date that had already been postponed once. And so they just didn't know what to do. They live in Maryland now. He lost his job. They fell behind on payments. And they literally locked their house up and moved. So everything they owned was still in their house here.
Wow.
So he didn't want to put it on the market because he didn't want people going through his house, because it smelled pretty bad because the fridge had been turned off for a while. But all his stuff was still in there. So from the time he arrived in Sierra Vista was on a Friday, and we had until Wednesday. The auction was on Wednesday. So we just brought in the trustee told me he would extend it one day at a time, but that's all he could do. So I just called him every day, and we brought an investor in, and the investor just made him a cash offer. And so we got it closed in 4 days. We got an offer on Friday and we closed it on Wednesday.
Wow.
So but I had pulled title when he called me initially the first time and had them run title to make sure he didn't have any liens or anything. So I think that kind of helped us with that end process.
Mhm.
Having that already done. But he had a lot of equity in the house. He just didn't have the time. He had no time to sell it. So he still walked away with about 30,000, after all was said and done. So
Wow, that's great. So like that's normal right now in this market, I would feel, Michele,
mhm.
but like back when I started, we knew 100% of the time when someone called me, it was a short sale. And so that's what we're trying to spread awareness across the country right now is, hey, homeowners, you may have this equity. And that's what
Right.
Michele determined with this guy. So why did he leave his stuff behind? They just left and were they unaware of their options or what did he
They
say about
were, yeah. And the sad thing is he was a military guy. And so
that? Oh,
he just had no idea. He had a VA loan, really, he had a really good loan on the house, but he just had no idea. He didn't understand that he had options. And so by the time they got my letter, he packed him and his wife and his kids up and they just moved because he got a job, because he had lost his job here because he was now a civilian working on the base, and
okay.
his job during COVID had been shut down. And so they just had to move. And so he came back and we helped him load up a U-Haul. And the lady who bought the house said, you know what, leave whatever, it's okay. Like, we're going to donate it to charity. They run a foster home charity. And so a lot of it's going to go to foster homes. And, so this deal was, it was pretty amazing that it came together as quickly as we did.
Yeah, I also feel like that's a little bit rare, but I love the fact that Michele continued to follow up with the trustee. Because I do feel like the trustees, or however your state processes a foreclosure, it's going to be a little bit different. They don't want to really take these properties back, especially if these homeowners have equity. And Michele came in very quickly and was able to help this guy pull the equity out. 4 days is literally crazy, though. How did he feel afterwards? Like, what did he say to you? Was he relieved? I mean, he could have went to foreclosure and then got nothing.
Yeah, and they were super excited. I mean, they were super thankful, super emotional, so it was good to see, because it allowed them to do some things in Maryland that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do, and it didn't put a foreclosure on his credit. So that was the best part, for him, because he can get another VA loan,
Correct. Yes. And how did that make you feel about starting the process and accomplishing this with the seller?
Really good. It was good. Yeah, it was. And here in Arizona, there's a lot of people who are in the same position where, because I have 2 more coming up from the equity letters,
Okay.
because it's not so much the short sale thing here right now. It's people that they got a mortgage and they lost their job and now they can't pay it, but they have equities. But I don't think a lot of people realize that you can sell your house, And
Yeah.
so these letters are great, because I send out about 100 a week, and I'm actually getting quite a bit of phone calls now. So
I love that. I mean, the whole idea again, and I sometimes feel like a broken record, so sorry, but the homeowners don't know. They go to the internet for bad advice. They get bad advice from sometimes attorneys and real estate agents who really don't understand the process. But hey, you're behind on your mortgage. You absolutely can sell, pull the equity out now, because the market's going to shift. And then once that shifts, they may lose the equity, and they just don't know that option. But it's still very, very tricky, right, Michele?
yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
so it's still a complicated transaction, even though they're behind and they have that equity, because we don't know what's going on with title. Now, when you pulled title, Michele, was there anything wacky on title, or was it clean?
No, it was clean. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a plus.
Yeah.
I did one recently where they were behind. They actually made about 50,000 because of the way the market was. This was earlier in the spring, and there was an HOA lien that we had to pay. So when it's a short sale, that gets tricky. So tell me, Michele, how much did he owe?
So he owed 117, and the house, when I ran comps, came up at about 275.
Okay.
But he didn't have the time. So my investor came in and gave him 159.
Okay.
So,
All
and
right.
then I only took a commission on one side. I didn't want him to have to do that. So, we just kind of cut the commission down so he could still walk away.
Yeah, that's great. So I do that a lot too, just to get the deal done. Ultimately, you're helping the homeowner. So
Mhm.
at 159, what did you charge for commission?
3%.
Okay, so 3%. I think that's a really good deal. So just so everyone listening, in a short sale situation, the banks typically pay 6%. So Michele, are you currently working on one that's short, or they all have equity?
They all have equity. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one that we're going to do next week, that he's just fixing up enough so that we can sell it and he can, get some money out of it. And then we have another one right now that's in probate, and hoping that one will get out of probate. So we're just dealing with the trustee every day, making sure that we just continue pushing it out.
Okay.
So, but that one's the same. It was the mom's house. she owes very little on it, but she passed away. They never did anything with the will. So now it's sitting in probate while it's, the auction date keeps getting pushed out. So we'll see if we save that one. That one's kind of on the fence.
Yeah, those ones are always iffy, but I always say do what you can until there's nothing else that you can do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, very, very rewarding to help. So here, and every market's a little bit different. So Michele is getting a lot of calls from the equity letter. And these people have equity. Here in Chicagoland, I would say it's about 50 right now. So, but also Illinois is number one for foreclosure rates. So it's about 50% is short and 50% is equity. So like Michele did in the beginning, I highly encourage you to check title and order a payoff. Now, how did you get the payoff that quickly? Did you go to the trustee and get it?
No, title sent me the documents that I needed and I sent it to them. And so they did all the paperwork, so I could get that. They just weren't willing to move forward with like letting me in the house or trying to list it, but we had the payoff and everything right from the beginning. So, well,
Okay.
I don't want to say right from the beginning. We ordered it right from the beginning. The bank really fought us on giving it up, but
Yeah.
so.
So I'm super proud of you for getting that done in 4 days. Like I've never done that before. So awesome, awesome. So we have a question from Dorsey. So do you send your letters? So I know inside of the program, we encourage you to send letters to counties. And so like here in Chicagoland, I service 7 to 9 different counties. Like you, sometimes drive up to an hour and a half. And so are you sending your letters per county or how are you doing those?
I do right now primarily just Pima County. Yeah. So and my title company just she sends me a list every week of all the new filings. So
Okay, so you're getting your leads from the title company.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's something else I'll touch on quickly. So we have these awesome equity letters that we're taking advantage of right now. So what's the difference between the auction date and the equity letter? Auction date is something we have been sending out for about 11, 12 years. But that was when we knew 100% of the time it was a short sale. So back in the day, Michele, way before you started, Arizona was insane with the amount of short sales they had. Okay. So
Yeah.
that letter was great because there was a call to action to, hey, don't go to foreclosure, but you may get some relocation assistance. However, with the adjustment of the market, we have to shift, right? We have to adjust as experts in our area. And so we created this equity letter that is a call to action to find out if you have equity. And so that's the letter that Michele is using right now. And she's a title company state. And so she's getting her leads from a title company. So it really just depends. We do talk about that inside the program, and some can get it through the title company. Some can get it online. We have a program. I have a program I use to get them. So it really just depends. And so those letters, Michele, or those leads that you're getting from the title company, does it have auction dates on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I send out a letter that's in pre-foreclosure, I just send the letter and my business card. But if it has an auction date, I handwrite on the letter, hey, your auction date is set for this date and time. Please call me. Let's talk,
Yes.
So I handwrite on each of them if there's an auction date that shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and some counties across the United States are user friendly. So what do I mean by that? You can actually print information on the auction and highlight it. And so that's what I do. And so just to show proof, because I don't know if you get these calls, Michele, but people will call me and they'll be like, I had no clue I had an auction date.
Yep.
And so anyway, so I'm very excited. You're sending the letters out consistently every week, correct?
I do every week.
Okay. Let's talk about your experience as a whole with inside of our partnership program. And, are you enjoying the letters? Are you glad that it's, being consistent? Any advice you can give as well?
You know what I would say the biggest thing is, yes, I love the letters. I do it every week and it is very time consuming. I print out all my own labels for myself but all the clients, I handwrite every envelope. My grandson's job is to stamp them every week. But to be consistent, because some of these people, I know I've sent them 6 and 8 and 10 letters before they reach out and say, oh, maybe it's time for me to like pull my head out of the sand and and figure out what I'm going to do, So, but having all of the stuff in there has helped. Like, I'm just starting to look at the email sequences that you have in there because I just bought a whole bunch of emails.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to do that route also, to see, but just to be consistent, because I mean, the market here in Arizona is still pretty strong, but I want to keep it going that way for me, So I just, every week, I mean, we have a ton of foreclosures. It's crazy how many foreclosures we have here and how many auctions. So I do about a third of the list every week. And then I start again at the top and I go back down, you know what I mean? Because I get about 700 a week. So.
Yeah, that's insane. I would say once you get that down, Michelle, then that's something you can delegate out. So I love that you have your grandson do. Did you say grandson or son?
My grandson. Yeah.
Oh, you don't look
Yeah.
like you could be a grandma, but
Oh.
anyway, so that's great that he does the stamps and stuff. And so,
Mhm.
eventually as you get busier and busier, especially with the calls from the consistency of this letter, delegate that part out, which, then you can be able to have Michelle go and build those relationships with attorneys. Have you started
Yes.
that at all inside of the program? Have you done the building relationships with attorneys at all?
I haven't yet. No, no.
Okay. So awesome. So Dorsey asked, where did you buy the emails from? So we do have a system inside of our program that we use. I don't know. Are you taking advantage of that, Michelle, or do you get your emails elsewhere?
I got them through Property Radar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's Property Radar is our partnership program. And so um we have an agreement with them underneath. There's extra training. The great thing about that is we will train on auction date and pre-foreclosure. So are you pulling them from auction date leads or just pre-foreclosure ones?
Those ones just pre-foreclosure because I
Okay.
want to hit them before they are too close to auction,
Yeah,
So,
the pre-foreclosure campaigns for us are about 11 months. All the emails we wrote, and then the 3 month or auction date's about 3 months.
yeah.
So good to know. There may be some secret stuff behind the scenes. So I know Michelle, stay tuned for this, but we are working on a series letter that will go to families that have a pre-foreclosure status. So when they just got the NOD or the Liz pendants, depending on which state. So we're in the trial phase right now. As many of you know, I try to test things before I put them out there to make sure it actually works. So, any other questions for Michelle? Her biggest advice said consistency. So, if you're interested in talking with me more and coming up with an action call, an action plan for you as a short sale distress expert in your area, feel free to schedule that 15-minute action call. I'll post it here and I'll also post it in the group. Any other questions? Oh, Olga is asking if you call the homeowners.
No, and I'm not quite that brave yet.
So if I can comment on that, I started these wacky transactions in 2007. And to this day, I cannot make calls to homeowners. It's just not my thing. And so I always stress to people inside of our partnership program, hey, if you like calling, then have at it. We got door hangers for you if you want a door knock, but the program is not based on that. I prefer to send the letters like Michelle has done and go out and do community events and build those relationships with attorneys. The letters and those relationships are number 1 and 2, the lead source. I don't do any cold calls. Never, ever. I just won't. Now I do send emails out, but I don't do cold calls. So
Nope.
you can call Olga if you want, but I know there's been a lot of people inside the group. Now Asia's not on here, but she does cold calling and stuff. But all right, any other questions for Michelle? So it looks like what about door knocking? Yeah, so she doesn't door knock. I don't door knock either. Now, there are some people inside of the program that do door knock. And so we have provided some really cool door hangers if that's something you want to do. Last week, we spoke about that book. And so a lot of times you can also put that book in one of those those clear sleeves that you can then attach to the door. But it's not really, I prefer the homeowner to call me because remember, if you're going to knock on their door and they're gonna be they're already in a chaos situation. They're going through a lot. And so I rather them physically call than me going in front. That's just my opinion. Michelle, I don't know, it's probably the same for you.
It's too, I think it's too iffy, to meet, to go knock on someone's door. I don't even do it in a regular basis. I don't do it for open houses or anything, just because of the climate that we live in. For me,
Yeah.
I don't feel safe doing that for me.
I would suggest getting they have on Amazon pepper spray. I still carry it around, even though I've never had any issues, because you are going into these homeowners' homes. I sit at their kitchen tables, and so you just really never know. You can buy them on Amazon. I have a pink one. I just wear a lanyard when I go, and it's on the bottom of that. So just a tip for you all.
I carry a gun, so
Okay, that could work too. I do not. I have a long background with guns and they just make me nervous, but whatever works for you.
yeah.
All right, so I did post the action call. If you would like to have a call with me personally, it's not a team member, it's directly with me. Feel free to schedule that. I'm going to open up some days and times because, and Michelle, I know you know this, we're moving next week. And so next week's going to be a little bit chaotic. If you've been following me on Facebook, we have been building a home for almost 2 years, essentially. And so I'm still going to do the live stream next Thursday, but bear with me as it may be a little bit chaos in the background. But I'm still going to do a live stream next week. I took all of your trainings and we did the poll into consideration. So we'll start doing those next week. But give me some time before you schedule that 15-minute action call. I'm going to open up some times for all of you, possibly this weekend as well and tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. And if you missed out on most of it, we'll probably ask you for a replay. So be on the lookout for that. Sorry. All right. Thanks, Michelle, so much. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Dorsey, I'll message you. Bye.
Bye.